Okay, everybody, welcome back. And I have a short video lecture today on the mailbox rule. This goes along with the formation of contracts. I generally skipped over that portion in the PowerPoint video lecture previously, so I wanted to take the handout separately and discuss that. So let me go ahead and get that up on your screen. And there it is. Let's talk about the mailbox rule. Basically, the mailbox rule is a method of timing. It's determining timing. Basically, in order for a contract, for an offer to be accepted, to form a valid contract, a lot of things must exist, but one of the things that must exist is there must be a valid, living, breathing offer that's out there. And last time we talked about 5 different ways that an offer can die and not be living and breathing and capable of being accepted. And the mailbox rule generally reflects the timing of an acceptance and the timing of a revocation and when those are effective. And that's going to be very important for purposes of real life law, as well as for purposes of your exam and some hypotheticals that you may see on your next test. In general, you have to determine the way you answer the hypotheticals and the way you go through the real life situations in law is by going through the facts and determining not just when something happened, but when it's effective. That's the part that's really important. Lay people might not understand this, but you can have a contract where you have an offer that's made and then a revocation that occurs next, and then acceptance that occurs after that, and it still be a valid contract. Doesn't make sense unless you know what the mailbox rule is. So let's talk about that. In general, you're going to have 2 basic rules. One rule is an always rule, and one rule is a sometimes rule. And the always rule, I'll take that one first because that's the easiest, and I like to do the easy ones first, is when is the revocation of an offer effective? I offer to sell you a car and I take it back. I'm not going to sell my car after all, or I'm going to sell it to somebody else, or I change my mind, I'm going to sell it for a different price. When is my revocation of that offer effective? Well, the answer is when it is received by the offeree. So let's take what you may think is a silly example. I send you an offer to sell my car by mail, and I send it on Monday. And maybe you get it right away. You get it on Tuesday, which should be quick for the mail. They're having a good day. And on Tuesday, I think about it and I change my mind. And I say, you know what? I don't think I'm going to sell my car after all. And so I write you another letter and I put it in an envelope and I put it in the mailbox, and the mailman doesn't come around Tuesday at my house. He comes around Wednesday and picks it up, and then it goes back to the post office, and then on Thursday that it goes to the main post office, and you get it on Friday. The rejection or the revocation of my offer, I made it on Tuesday. It's not effective on Tuesday. It's not effective on Wednesday. It's not effective on Thursday. It's not effective until Friday, because Friday is when you received it. Now the question is, do we have a contract? Well, it depends. If you accepted the contract and the acceptance was effective before Friday, then we have a contract. So if you accepted it on Thursday, even though I tried to revoke it on Tuesday, if you accepted it on Thursday and it was effective on Thursday, we've got a contract. Let's look at the acceptance rules. It's a sometimes rule. Sometimes it's effective immediately when you send it. Sometimes it's not effective until it's received by the offeror. What makes the difference? Well, it depends on if authorized means of communication are used. What does that mean? When I mailed you my offer, I may have said, hey, look, I'm going to sell my car. I offer to sell you my car for X dollars. If you agree, reply back by email. Here's my email address. Now I have dictated to you what the authorized means of communication are. Email. If you use email, as soon as you press the send button on that email communication, that acceptance is effective. If I said, let me know by return snail mail, postal service, and you put it in the mailbox on Wednesday and I don't get it till the next Tuesday, when is the acceptance effective? Wednesday when you send it, not when I receive it. Wednesday when you send it. Why? Because I used the authorized means of communication, the one dictated in the offer, or you used it, I guess. What if you don't use it? What if instead of sending it by mail in that second example that I gave, you instead sent me a fax? If that's the case, then it doesn't mean that the acceptance isn't valid. It's still valid, but it's only effective when it's received by the offeror. Basically the same rule now as a revocation. So your always rule is your acceptance, your revocation is always effective when it's received, not when it's sent. The sometimes rule is that the acceptance is sometimes effective when it is sent, and sometimes it's effective when it's received, depending on whether you use the authorized means of communication or not. There are two examples shown there on the handout. The first one says, an offer is made. It says, hey, respond to this offer by fax. The offer was made Monday. The acceptance was made by hand dropping it off, hand delivery on Wednesday. But the person was out of the office door was shut, they just slid it under the door, whatever. It wasn't received until Thursday. When is that acceptance effective? Only when it's received, because I told you, the offer told you to respond by fax. You didn't do it. If you had responded by fax, the instant you sent the fax, it would be effective right then. But because you chose to hand deliver it, it's not effective until it's received. So if in that case, a revocation was sent by email Wednesday night, after you had already hand delivered the acceptance, it doesn't matter. The revocation is effective first. Why? Because you received it Wednesday night. That's when the revocation is effective. The acceptance isn't effective until it's received on Thursday, because you did not use the authorized means of communication. Example 2, same as example 1, except you sent a fax acceptance Wednesday morning. And let's say for whatever reason, Their fax machine wasn't working properly. It was out of ink or out of paper. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The fax machine was the authorized means of communication. So when you sent it Wednesday morning, that's when it's effective. So in that case, you got a valid contract. So make sure that you understand. Go through this. I would urge you to make up your own examples, work through some of these. And my tip is to just take these hypotheticals very meticulously and go through, ignore when things are sent or received or whatever, unless that was the effective time for it. You have to determine what the rule is and then apply the rule. Okay, well, thank you very much.